There was a moment late in the third quarter when Judkins dragged 3 defenders for a first down, and the stadium erupted. Garrett had already delivered 2 sacks and a forced fumble, but the offense? Still stuck. Dillon Gabriel's struggles were visible: off-target throws, hesitation in the pocket, zero rhythm. On the sideline stood Shedeur Sanders, helmet on, ready. Yet the call never came.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
For many fans watching, it was the moment Stefanski's loyalty crossed into stubbornness, a decision that could define the season. This isn't just about one game. It's about a pattern that threatens to waste a special defense and a dynamic run game. Sanders isn't a miracle cure, but he brings leadership, improvisation, and a mental edge Gabriel continues to lack. The time for hesitation has passed. Cleveland has the pieces to make a run, but that future hinges on whether Stefanski is willing to act before the opportunity slips away entirely. Kevin Stefanski is getting dragged, and this time, nobody's stepping in to defend him. The Cleveland Browns walked away from their game against the Miami Dolphins with a win, but that result felt less like a victory and more like a delay of the inevitable. Because what's become crystal clear to everyone watching, fans, analysts, former players, even people inside the building, is that Stefanski is refusing to make the one move that could unlock this team's full potential, starting Shedeur Sanders. It wasn't subtle. Dillon Gabriel was struggling. Under pressure, he looked lost. Miami brought the heat, and Gabriel couldn't handle it. Missed throws. Hesitant decision-making. A complete inability to adjust. And yet, Stefanski stuck with him. Through every 3-and-out. Through every missed opportunity. Through every sign that screamed, make a change. And Shedeur Sanders? Fully healthy. On the sideline. Watching. That decision has now turned into a storm of criticism. And it's not just emotional. It's strategic. Because this Browns team isn't some rebuilding mess. They're not rolling out a bare-bones roster and hoping to survive. They've got weapons. They've got a defense that's wreaking havoc. They've got a running back in Judkins who just ran wild for 3 touchdowns against a playoff-caliber defense. Everything is clicking, except at quarterback. And Stefanski won't budge. Fans aren't asking for a miracle. They're not asking Stefanski to blow up the playbook and throw Sanders into the fire for theatrics. They're asking for accountability. For recognition that what we're watching every week on offense isn't good enough. That Gabriel's performance isn't an outlier, it's the norm. And it's limiting everything. The defense? Unbelievable. Myles Garrett and company were surgical against Miami. They forced turnovers, collapsed pockets, and made one of the league's most explosive offenses look pedestrian. If this team had even a league-average passing attack, they would have walked out of that stadium with a statement win. Instead, the game hung in the balance because of offensive ineptitude. And that's what's driving people crazy. Judkins is doing everything he can. The defense is laying it all out. The receivers are trying to make plays on off-target throws. Everyone else is adjusting, grinding, elevating. But the quarterback is stuck. And Stefanski is dragging the entire team down by refusing to address it. It's not even about talent at this point. It's about guts. The call for Sanders isn't just about his physical tools. It's about his leadership, his presence, his ability to bring calm to chaos. He's mobile, confident, decisive, everything Gabriel hasn't been. And when you've got a player like that ready to go, and the guy in front of him is giving you nothing, you have to make the switch. And yet Stefanski didn't. And that silence, that non-move, that "we'll stick to the plan" stubbornness, it's being heard loud and clear across the fan base. This isn't just about one game. This is about trajectory. Because every week that passes with Sanders on the sideline is another week of wasted potential. It's another week where the Browns are asking their defense to play perfect and hoping Judkins can carry the load. That's not a sustainable strategy. That's not growth. That's just waiting around for something to break. And it will break. It always does. What happens when the defense finally has an off day? What happens when Judkins gets slowed down? What happens when Gabriel is asked to actually carry the offense for a change? We already know the answer. And so does Stefanski. Which makes his refusal to act even worse. There's no injury excuse. No schematic explanation. No situational reason to keep Sanders out of the game when Gabriel is this ineffective. The only thing left is loyalty. Loyalty to a flawed plan. Loyalty to a quarterback who isn't elevating anyone. Loyalty to a version of this offense that isn't working. And the price of that loyalty? The Browns' ceiling. Because right now, this team is playing below what it could be. The defense is operating at a championship level. The ground game is dominating. The locker room energy is there. But there's a ceiling on how far you can go when your quarterback play is holding you back. And the longer Stefanski waits to make the change, the more this season teeters on wasted potential. This isn't one of those wait-and-see situations. This is urgent. The fan base knows it. The media knows it. Opposing teams know it. And if the locker room doesn't feel it already, they will soon. Because this isn't just about stats or production. It's about fairness. Accountability. It's about watching every other unit on the team perform at a high level while one guy gets endless chances and zero results. That's how you lose the locker room. Quietly. At first. A few side eyes. Some tension in the film room. Then it spreads. Players start to wonder what the standard really is. If performance matters at all. If the best guy plays, or just the guy the coach picked first. And if Stefanski loses the locker room over this? That's on him. Because all of this could have been avoided with one decision: put Sanders in. Not to make a statement. Not to panic. Just to try. To adjust. To respond to what's actually happening on the field. Because that's the most damning part of this entire situation. Stefanski watched his offense fail to function for 4 quarters and still couldn't pull the trigger. Not even for a single drive. Not even to see if Sanders could provide a spark. Nothing. That level of inaction isn't caution. It's fear. And coaching from fear never works. The Browns don't need to reinvent the offense. They don't need to overhaul the playbook. They just need a quarterback who can function under pressure. Who can move. Who can extend plays. Who can take advantage of the openings Judkins creates. Who can let Garrett and the defense breathe once in a while by sustaining a drive. That guy is Shedeur Sanders. And the longer Stefanski pretends he isn't, the more damage he does to this team. This is a moment. A crossroads. Everyone can feel it. Either Stefanski embraces what's obvious, makes the switch, and gives the team a real shot to elevate, or he stays stuck in this downward loop, dragging a playoff-caliber team into mediocrity out of sheer pride. The calls for Sanders aren't just emotional, they're tactical. He is the best chance Cleveland has to fix the most glaring issue on an otherwise playoff-ready roster. And let's be honest, if Stefanski doesn't start him soon, he won't just lose games. He'll lose credibility. And once that's gone, it's over. The fan base has seen this before. The wasted seasons. The wrong quarterbacks. The good rosters with nothing to show for it. They've lived it. They know what it looks like. And they're not watching this unfold quietly. If you're done watching Shedeur Sanders rot on the bench while the offense runs in circles, hit that like button. Drop a comment. Should Sanders be starting next week, or is Stefanski out of touch? And subscribe, because this saga is far from over. One way or another, change is coming to Cleveland, and it might get ugly before it gets better. At this point, it's not even a quarterback controversy anymore. It's a credibility crisis. And Kevin Stefanski is standing right in the middle of it. When your defense is flying around like possessed wolves, when your running back is torching a top-tier defense for 3 touchdowns, when your fan base is showing up and screaming for something, anything, that resembles progress, and your answer is to double down on the most uninspired quarterback play of the season. You're not just risking a game. You're risking everything. This isn't about Dylan Gabriel. Let's make that clear. He's not the villain in this story. He's doing what he can with what he has. But that what he has isn't cutting it. He's not elevating this offense. He's not making defenses respect the pass. He's not keeping drives alive. What he is doing is hanging on to a starting job because his head coach refuses to let go of the script he wrote back in August. And while Stefanski's stuck flipping through the same worn-out pages, the season is slipping away. Slowly but surely. Because when you rely on defense and the run game to win you games every single week, you're living on a razor's edge. It only takes one off night, one injury, one blown assignment, and the house of cards collapses. But the solution isn't complicated. It's not even bold at this point. It's obvious. You play the guy who gives your offense a chance to breathe. You play Shedeur Sanders. And what's so wild is how loudly that opportunity is knocking. It's not just fans yelling from the stands or sports radio having a meltdown on Monday morning. It's former players, analysts, national media, neutral observers who don't even care about the Browns but can see, plain as day, that this offense is dying on the vine and Stefanski's too scared to change gardeners. That's why the heat is turning up so fast. It's one thing to lose. It's another thing to ignore solutions. And when you've got a young quarterback with confidence, vision, and the ability to improvise, and you let him rot on the bench while a broken offense limps its way through winnable games, that's not loyalty. That's negligence. It's not a secret anymore. Everyone can see it. Shedeur Sanders is the only thing that hasn't been tried. And that silence? That empty refusal to even test what's right in front of you? It speaks volumes. About Stefanski's fear. About his rigidity. And most dangerously, about a lack of trust in his own team to handle a change. Because what message are you sending when the guy putting the offense in reverse keeps his job while the guy who might shift it into gear doesn't even get a snap? You're telling everyone in the building, merit doesn't matter. And that's when things start to break. Locker rooms don't explode all at once. It starts small. A frustrated receiver saying the quiet part out loud in practice. A lineman wondering why they're killing themselves for field goals. A defensive captain asking why they have to be perfect when the quarterback doesn't. And that's how you lose a team. Not because they hate the coach. Not because they hate the QB. But because the logic breaks down, and the silence becomes disrespectful. And the longer this goes on, the more toxic it becomes. Shedeur Sanders isn't a developmental project. He's not a third-string wildcard or a raw arm that needs 2 years of seasoning. He's ready. Everyone knows he's ready. The only person pretending otherwise is the one making the decisions. And look, Stefanski's not new here. He's seen what happens when a team doesn't have balance. He's coached through losing seasons. He's made the hard calls before. So why is he folding now? Is it about control? Image? Some unspoken internal politics? Whatever it is, it's not working. The Browns have reached the part of the season where windows start closing. You can't figure it out forever. You can't keep saying, we just need to execute, when the execution is broken at its foundation. You can't keep blaming scheme or chemistry or rhythm when the quarterback isn't getting the job done and hasn't been for weeks. It's not a scheme issue. It's a quarterback issue. And Shedeur Sanders is the answer. Not the perfect answer. Not the guaranteed fix answer. But the only one that hasn't been tried. The only one who might bring balance back to this team. The only one who can extend plays, scare defenses, and bring a little swagger to an offense that currently plays like it's apologizing for existing. This isn't about blowing things up. It's about unlocking the things that already work. Because right now, the Browns are wasting elite performances from their defense. They're wasting Judkin's breakout year. They're wasting momentum. And for what? To prove that a flawed plan deserves more time? That's not coaching. That's ego. There is no more was left. There is no more next week. The time is now. You either put Sanders in and see what you really have, or you keep running this team into the ground one check down at a time. Because that's what this is, a slow collapse. And don't be surprised when the fans start turning sharper. They've seen this movie before. It doesn't end well. It ends with missed playoffs, wasted primes, and another offseason full of what-ifs. But there's still a chance to rewrite the ending. There's still time to flip the script. Start Shedeur Sanders. Give this team the quarterback it deserves. Give the locker room a reason to believe again. Give the defense something to fight with, not just for. Give Judkin some room to breathe. Give the fanbase a reason to scream for something instead of at someone. Or don't. And watch as this season, this roster, and this opportunity evaporate. Because make no mistake, If Kevin Stefanski doesn't act now, it won't just be the offense that falls apart. It'll be the trust, the buy-in, the belief that this team is headed in the right direction. And once that's gone, so is the season. At this point, what more is there to wait for? The Cleveland Browns are standing on the edge of a season that still has hope, real, tangible, fight-for-it hope. And Kevin Stefanski is gripping the steering wheel with both hands while the car spins out, refusing to correct course because technically they're still on the road. That's what sticking with Dillon Gabriel has become. Not a commitment to leadership. Not a belief in potential. Not a strategy. It's pure inertia. A refusal to make the uncomfortable choice, even as the scoreboard, the film, and the entire football world scream for it. Because let's be honest, this team has done everything else right. The defense is vicious, smart, disciplined, disruptive. They play like every snap is a playoff down, and in the game against Miami, they made one of the league's most explosive offenses look like a scrimmage squad. Myles Garrett is leading that unit with ferocity, and he's doing it knowing full well that if he and his guys don't hold teams under 20, the Browns are probably toast. Then there's Judkins, carving up defenses like it's easy, breaking tackles, spinning out of contact, finding the end zone like it's a magnet. The guy just scored 3 touchdowns on a legit defense, and he did it while Gabriel was giving the ball back on nearly every drive. This isn't about whether the Browns are a bad team. They're not. That's what makes this entire situation so maddening. They're close. They're right there. If the quarterback play was even average, we'd be talking about playoff seeding. But instead, we're stuck having the same conversation every week. Why is Shedeur Sanders still not playing? And it's not just fan frustration anymore. It's systemic. It's creeping into every crevice of this team's identity. Because when one guy underperforms week after week and never faces consequences, while the rest of the roster grinds, it sends a message. That message? The standard doesn't apply to everyone. That's dangerous. Players are watching this unfold in real time. You think Garrett doesn't notice when the defense holds a team to 17 and the offense still can't score? You think Judkins isn't feeling the weight of trying to carry the team while the passing game can't sustain a drive? You think the receivers don't see how limited the playbook becomes when Gabriel's under center? They see it. And they're not saying it out loud yet. But it's coming. Because locker rooms may stay quiet at first, but silence doesn't mean peace. Silence means pressure is building. And when it finally explodes, it's not polite. It's not subtle. And it's never easy to fix. That's the path Stefanski is walking down right now. One game at a time. One stubborn decision at a time. And what's the reward for all this loyalty? A passing game that struggles to crack 150 yards. A quarterback who panics under pressure. A system that relies on defensive turnovers to stay alive. That's not football. That's triage. It doesn't have to be this way. Shedeur Sanders is sitting right there. Ready. Energized. And whether you're a die-hard fan or a casual observer, it's obvious. He brings something different. Not just talent, but clarity. The offense knows when he's in, things can happen. He moves the pocket. He resets the line of scrimmage. He sees the field. And most importantly, he plays like he belongs. That's what Gabriel hasn't shown. Gabriel's numbers don't even tell the full story. It's the feeling. The vibe of the offense when he's under center. It's tight. It's predictable. It's scared. They don't move with confidence. They move with caution. And that's the opposite of what this team needs. Right now, the Browns need a quarterback who challenges defenses. Who doesn't just manage the game, but forces teams to adjust. Sanders gives you that. His leadership isn't theoretical. His composure under pressure isn't some off-season projection. It's there, waiting to be used. But Stefanski? He's clinging to a sinking plan. And it's not just conservative, it's paralyzing. It's like watching someone refuse to switch from dial-up to Wi-Fi because the old way still technically works. And look, this isn't a demand for chaos. It's not about scapegoating Gabriel or turning the team upside down. It's about evolving, responding, leading. That's what Stefanski's supposed to do. But right now, he's coaching like someone trying not to offend the playbook. And the fans? They're done. They're showing up. They're loyal. They've sat through more rebuilds than anyone should. And now, when the team finally has the core pieces in place, when a deep playoff run is actually realistic, they're watching the offense stall out over and over again because the head coach refuses to get out of his own way. It's not about being impulsive. It's about not being blind. You don't need Sanders to be Mahomes. You just need him to be capable, to bring balance, to give the other 10 guys on offense a chance to succeed, to give the defense some room to not be perfect. Because right now, Stefanski's system requires the defense to be flawless, Judkins to be unstoppable, and the offense to just hang on. That's not football. That's survival. And you don't win playoff games playing not to lose. There's still time to fix this. The Browns are not out of it. Not even close. But that window? It's fragile. And it's closing faster than people want to admit. The team is at a turning point. You either start Shedeur Sanders and see what this offense could become, or you keep Gabriel in and guarantee more of the same. More field goals. More punts. More pressure on the defense. More fans checking out. There is no middle ground left. And if Stefanski can't see that, if he needs another sluggish, lifeless offensive performance to finally make the call, then maybe he's not the guy to lead this team at all. The Browns don't need a miracle. They just need a quarterback. And that quarterback is already on the roster. Play him. Let Sanders take the field and run the offense like he owns it. Give this team a shot at becoming what it's meant to be, not in theory, but in reality. Stop coaching scared. Stop waiting. Stop wasting this roster. Let us know where you stand, because we know you've got thoughts. Should Stefanski finally hand the offense to Sanders? Or is this just going to be another Browns season that ends with, what if? Comment below, hit that like button if you're ready to see this team take the leap, and subscribe to stay in the loop. Because whatever happens next, it's going to define this season, this team, and maybe even Stefanski's future.